Alright, today we arrive in Caribbean. So first country we're gonna look in this region, and the most populated is gonna be from now on from the most populated to the least populated country. The most populated country is gonna be Haiti, or Haiti, depends how you wanna call it. And you can see it right here with the capital at, which I think it's a very nice name, Port-au-Prince, clearly French. So I'm not spelling exactly how it's supposed to be, but it is what it is. So now, as always, we're gonna look at the numbers for today's video, and from now on I add, well, a new metrics, and it's gonna be country by income inequality, which I think is pretty relevant to those videos. So let's start with population. Now, Haiti, depends how you want to call it, I have a population around 11.9 million people, and you can see here and rising, but the growing rate pretty much clearly slows down and going actually down. Now, back in 1955, only 3.5 million people living in this country, with 1.6% change, increase in population. That would be roughly 53,000 people. Migration on minus 15,000. Median age around 18 years old. Fertility rate, one of those nonsense, 6.2. And urban population around 13%. Now fast forward to 2025, population grew tremendously. Now there are almost 12 million people in this country, 1.1, 1.2 growing rate. That will be roughly 133,000 people, and migrants minus 32,000. Median age now it's around 24 years old. Fertility rate much more manageable, 2.6, but still pretty high. Urban population around 61%. Now in the future, they say by 2050 population is going to reach almost 15 million people. And keep in mind, just 100 years from 2050 they were only 3.5 million. Now they are almost 15 million people, which is insane. Growing rate about 0.6%. That would be roughly 91,000 people. Migrants minus 12,000, and median age around 31 years old. Fertility rate now much more manageable, 2.06, and urban population around 72%. So the good news that I can find here by this number is the yearly change. It is going down, but also population is still leaving the country. So clearly things are not going well there. Life expectancy, in my opinion, it is very good. Nobody wants to live that much, at least not me. 65 years for both sexes, female 68 and male 62. For male 62, that is pretty much the perfect, I would say. In 2010, you can see here a huge drop in population, life expectancy. From what I understand, in 2010 was that earthquake. I'm not sure exactly how much that influenced, but it could be one of those things. Now, infant mortality rate 43.4, and death under age of 5, 55.7. So with those numbers, I don't think they even know what is a medical system actually is, but hey, maybe they can improve it with time. Now you can see here, it's one of those French territory, colony, ex-French territory. From my understanding, people in Haiti, the blacks, were the first one that got free from slavery, so they are the first, let's say, revolutionary in that department, which is kind of very underrated, I would say. I just happened to find that randomly, so I'm not sure exactly how many people knows that, but I think it's worth mentioning. Ethnic group, as you can see, 95% are blacks and 5% are mixed or whites. 87% are Christianity and 10% no religion. For religion, only 2.1%. I think they have voodoo here. I'm not sure exactly, but probably they have it here. Now demographics, pretty interesting, I have to say. Look at this. They have a female surplus even by the birth. That's pretty interesting. I mean, I can get it after age of, say, 20, when people just choose to leave the country for better places, but at the birth, you don't see that very often, which is pretty interesting. So they have a female surplus population, and then by the age, I don't know, in 20, 26, 24, they have a very, very small male surplus population, but extremely small, and then they go for the women, which is pretty steady, I would say. Pretty interesting. The pyramid, as you can see, is gonna start to go narrow on the base, so clearly things are changing there, but that growing rate and the fertility rate go down. We're gonna see some changes here. Economic wise, not so well, I have to say. Only 20 billion US dollars nominal in 2023, and PPP around 20, the same numbers. Was 2020 that number, but maybe they got a bit increase. Let's go for the per capita. GDP per capita nominal $732. That's insanely low. And PPP just shy of $1,800, which is again extremely low. GDP by agriculture around 22%, industry 20%, services only 57%. Inflation, I hope it's 12.8 and not 12,000 in 2018. Yeah, pretty bad numbers, I have to say. Unemployment is around 13%, which is pretty huge. They export pretty much 85% to United States, which is, if some way things going bad with the United States, then they just go with the embargo or something like that. It just pretty much break the country immediately. And they import obviously a lot from US, the Dominican Republic and China. Now, corruption here, well, you can see it's not exactly a great country for corruption, for low corruption. For corruption is great. Let's see, Haiti, where they go. Let's go by the name. Probably it's gonna be much easier like that. Yeah. Let's find where Haiti. Only 16. They raised 4 points, which is pretty good, but only 16 points. Extremely corrupt country. So yeah, things are not going well. Population is growing, extremely poor and corrupt country. Cannot do that well, let's face it. And now in the income inequality on the map here, you can say not exactly a huge differences as other country, but let's check it. Let's see where exactly they stand in this. Haiti, it's a low middle income. I'm not sure exactly lower middle in this country. Probably it's going to be like low income, but it's a lower middle income, they characterize it, with around 41, 42. I think this is percent of the population scores. I'm not sure exactly. It has to be as low. If it's lower, it's better. If it's higher, it's pretty much worse. You can see Hong Kong has 30 points or 30%. I'm not sure exactly how to interpret this. Like I said, I just added. Greece has 32, so clearly Haiti at 41 doesn't do that well, but also not so bad either. It's not like South Africa, as you can see here, or Brazil. Those are much worse. History here very shortly. Now history when Republic of Haiti, look at this. It's gonna be, like I said, an interesting one. At some point in their history, look at this, they have the entire island, and if I'm not mistaken, this is exactly where the Christopher Columbus landed the first time, and I think back then they call it Hispaniola or something like that. I'm not sure exactly. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you should check that. At some point, there was a French colony dominated, then it was a Spanish in the Republic Dominican. So yeah, then at the point, all Spanish. It is pretty interesting, I have to say, the history of this place. But yeah, from what I understanding, that was, I think, the first place that Christopher Columbus, 1942. You can have here the first time where the Europeans arrived in Americas, looking for a shorter way to India. But yeah, now the main event, how those people actually, like I said, we arrive in Caribbean now. It's Central America or Northern America, depends on the continent how you want to call it, but it's more likely, I would characterize it as a Caribbean America. I given more like that. If you know, like the golden age of piracy, that make more sense to me. Now you can see here much small on the same island, they're shared with Repubblica Dominicana. So much smaller place for them, I would say, but we're gonna see at some point differences between them, which one lives better. But right now we go in for Haiti, and Haiti doesn't do that well in a street view department and 360, but we're gonna work with what we have. So yeah, we're gonna start in the north here on this island. Keep in mind, lower income, population still growing, high corruption, in an environment that gets pretty much hit every single year with very destructive hurricanes. So yeah, things cannot be exactly that great. But let's see it. Let's see how those people actually cope with this poverty. Maybe they find a way to just get past that. Maybe they didn't, but let's face it, it's not gonna be that easy. But let's see how those people actually live here. It's pretty much on a remote island. We saw those people there, and clearly somebody goes here to make those 360. But things looking very nice, I have to say. Landscape wise, it's amazing. Like I said, you're always gonna be tough to compete with Caribbean when you go to the they say in a vacation on the beach, when you want to have something like that, especially for Western countries, when actually they are the one to go probably the most in vacation, and they spend the more so far. It's gonna be tough to sell them on South Pacific, and even South America on the beach side, let's say it. Otherwise, even here, like I say, it's a very poor country, but let's see first of all if it's how do I expect it. And I expect to be, let's see, very rural, very like most of the people living 200 years ago or something like that. But even in that you can find beauty. So yeah, very pleased to say on this island a lot of 360, a lot of street views, which is pretty much every street, which is great news for me. It's gonna make me a lot of data, let's call it like that. They have paved roads at some point until here. There from there one, not that much paved roads. Those guys just stay here at the shade. This is April 2023, so very recently, I will add, just after pandemic. They have some new construction. I think that was a new construction. Not exactly, it wasn't exactly finished exactly. Oh, this one, it's a new one, I think. Yeah, here they live very tight together. I'm not sure exactly what they need that fence, but look at this house. That's kind of weird to see somebody living like this with small ones and not that well, and then you have one of those palaces here. Pretty interesting. A lot of male, look at this, that just stay here on the corner. Like I say, keep in mind the population is still growing, even though they have such a huge poverty, which again for me are gonna be the greatest mystery of the humankind. But I guess it is a reality. So when you go to Africa, probably it's gonna be even worse than that. So yeah, here they have one of those fences. I'm not sure exactly why they need a fence here, but and they have a donkey here also, and I think that's a goat, and some rocks there. Yeah, clearly no paved roads. They have some pole lights, which is kind of interesting. It shows that civilization is coming. It is very remote village. This one probably is doing better, even though they have a car. I'm not sure exactly if it's working. They have a much sturdy fence. They have a decent house, I would say. But again, look at those windows. They just even though they prepared for a hurricane, or things are not looking that great. And this is made by an ATV, and I think, not sure exactly, that's a Suzuki ATV. It's not a cheap one. So yeah, unfortunately the quality of those 360 is not that great. Let's check some other places. Clearly in this village every single one of those streets was made by that guy. So yeah, but let's go for the 360, another street view this time. Let's see if we can see a difference here. A lot of banana trees. The housing, I have to say, some of them that are looking, this is a new construction, definitely. It doesn't look that bad. Now architecture wise it could be improved. Those windows are way too smaller. But I like it's on the single level, which is nice. At some point here probably that was the old foundation and they decided probably to go with a new one. A lot of people, keep in mind, a lot of people leaving the country, so probably it's gonna be the same story as other countries, when people going outside and work, make some money, and then came here and I don't know, try to improve the life here. One thing that's interesting here, because they have that revolutionary, the first black slave that got out of the slavery, it's kind of an interesting place to keep fighting for, I would say, because you kind of have a nice history there. Clearly they need a lot of time and a lot of, let's say, great people, especially not corrupt people, to actually see some huge improvement here. But you never know, I guess, with those countries. It could go either way, I would say. But it's have that piece of history that it's kind of worth fighting for, I would say. They have something here that it's intriguing and interesting. Now the interior of this house, not exactly on my taste. Again, small windows, and they built from concrete, which is good, probably because they know they have hurricane, and it's gonna be like a much better investment. The roads here are pretty much in existence, I would say. It's just, yeah, not that great. But keep on, this is on a northern island, so I don't expect to see. I expect to see even worse than this. This is like a, I don't know, a trail to the forest. The same guy with the ATV that makes those 360. Well, I have to say the quality could be improved, but still it is something. I mean, we have information which is pretty good. We should donate some money to those guys that make those 360s by themselves and street views. It's a great piece of information that we enjoy it and see how those people live. Now here clearly things are not going that well. Now we go on the beach here. Things very very bad, I would say. But they have those nice boats here, probably from the tourists. They have some of them pretty decent houses at some point. Let's check those here. Not exactly that bad. Those one are bad, yeah. This is Digicel, probably the main provider of the phone company here. Oh no, those are fishing vessels, I think. But some of them look much more modern than that. This one looks like almost like a yacht to me. Looks like that. So yeah, things are not looking that great here, but let's see. From above, well, they still live a bit jammed together, but not exactly the worst that I saw. So yeah, I think it's for them is pretty decent. Here they have some people going on the fish market, I guess. That's fish, probably from these guys. Yeah, probably the main activities in villages like this is gonna be fishing and I don't know, some sort of agriculture. From above, there are quite a few people that are living here. Let me check this road. Let's see how it is. From what I understand, another story that was kind of fascinating to me, that in Haiti, because of the poverty and lack of resources, they cut almost all the trees to heat them, to cook, to heat the houses, the water, whatever they need, they use it for. That's banana trees, and probably that's goat milk. But clearly I can see in 2023 there are quite a few trees left. It's not exactly that bad, but we're gonna go on the mainland and then we're gonna see how situation it is there. Yeah, here is pretty decent, I have to say. Let me check just a few spots and then we move on, because I try to make those videos shorter now. I don't want to go more than half an hour. I think it's already way too long, so yeah, I want people to watch all the video. Here, let's say on the northern coast, people are here a bit more jammed together living. They have a nice road, which is pretty good. Cables over, yeah. But now you're gonna have another problem. They have, even here, I think they have some earthquakes. Like they have that in 2010. But also they have hurricanes. So those cables, they're gonna get pretty much smashed. And gonna break all those poles here immediately when you have that one of those 5 category hurricane. Houses here, well, pretty much all over the place, I would say. A lot of different colors. Not exactly bad, but still not that great. They have some bars on the windows, I have to mention that. So yeah, probably crime rate not exactly the lowest. Here it looks some sort of the market, I guess. Look at these guys on the bananas. Look at this, how many they have. Probably they came to the market to trade, to sell them, all that stuff. I see some garbage here, which I don't like it. Actually, kind of a lot of garbage here that I don't like it. I'm not sure, like, again, with that, how much was nominal? Was like 7,800, 7,800, not 7,800 US dollars per capita. Clearly, not exactly the, not even close to the minimum that is required to live, I would say. But clearly, those people here manage somehow to live. The problem, the thing that I don't understand, and it's when you have that poor communities and poor people, how they still making so many kids. It's kind of a mystery to me, not just now, but even in the past. That's a nice house, I have to say, looking wise. A lot of Barcelona, which I don't like it. It's a nice house for this environment, I would say. This one even more. Yeah, some of those people doing pretty decent for this region, clearly, but not that great. Clearly, not even close to the Western standard. But again, we have the same problem with overpopulation. This is, I think, it is actually a problem with overpopulation. Look at this, how many there. It is like 12, almost 12 million people in this region, and not that great to live here. Look at this, a lot of garbage, cars pretty much getting disassembled. Yeah, some of them seems to not care that much, I guess. At some point, when I see that much poverty around you, kind of try to, I don't know, shut that down in your mind. Also a lot of inequality, but some people also in every country that we're gonna visit, they are gonna live pretty well. So it is what it is. Those cables here, not exactly so bad, but they have some garbage on it, which I kind of believe is from the hurricane. This is September. I'm not sure exactly what is the season peak of those hurricanes, but from my understanding, they starting from this barbed wire. They're starting from February and kind of ended in November, so pretty much year round. And the peak, probably it's around August, September, around that. But I'm not exactly so sure. Yeah, things are not looking that great here. Look at this, just not even close. Some cars leftovers here. This is 2023, so very recently. I don't think they changed that much by now. This is pandemic year, or maybe they wasn't such a big deal with pandemic there. Here in Europe, we kind of stop immediately, the same day. The next day was stop when Russia have their war with Ukraine, and then just pretty much stops. The pandemic did not exist from that point on. 2023 again, the roads not even close to a good one. A lot of garbage on the road. Yeah, a lot of traffic, a lot of people jamming in a one place together. They have an airstrip here, which is pretty nice. Not that many 360 or street views from this point, but like I say, general rule, looking for trees, and you're gonna find the best areas, the richest one, I would say, when the rich people live. Here clearly is not the case. A lot of people here. Look at this. You might say, oh, it's not that many, but no, it's a lot of people. It's just, you cannot hide that at some point, even if you might try it. You're gonna see a lot of people in the country. Obviously the land can support much more, but look at this garbage here, absolutely horrible. The system, the economic, clearly not even close. So the capital, I think it's right here. I want to check that. So I think it's right here. Let's check the capital. How was the name? It was a very nice name. It was Port-au-Prince, whatever. Okay, I'm not pronouncing it, but sounds pretty nice, pretty fancy. So you do expect some great life quality here, but clearly it is not the case. Now, do I see $800 per capita? No, I see more actually, to be honest, but still I see a lot of poverty. Look at this. They have some nice mountains here. Let's check from above. They have a lot of poverty, and also a lot of people. That's the main problem, I would say. If the population was going down and the corruption was going down, you will have a different discussion. But the fact that those things are not, and keep in mind, this is the first, if I'm not mistaken, again, the first territory, the first land that Europeans put foot on it in Americas. So you might say, okay, this should be the most developed. That makes some sense at some point. It should be the most developed, when clearly it's not the case. That is not gonna show you that you're gonna have, let's say, just because you're the first one there, you're gonna actually you're gonna be the most developed, let's call it like that. But clearly it is not the case here. It actually could be exactly the opposite. I am curious when I'm gonna compare with República Dominicana and see how exactly the difference here is here. Probably they don't have even exactly clean water to drink, judging by those jugs. Yeah, things not exactly so well. And moving here again, back in the capital, a lot. Look at, even from above, a lot of houses, a lot of people, and not that many trees, I would say. I think they have even some riots at some point. Look at this, you can see it from above. That many. Look at this, absolutely insane how many people live here. And you might say 12 million is not that much, especially when you spread them around. Well, there is a lot of people, there are a lot of houses. And I am definitely sure, like, not every single one of them has the individual house. So clearly, probably they're living like 2-3 generations in one house at some point. So it's not even 12 million houses, probably like, I don't know, 2 million houses, and look how jammed they look together. Again, Not that many street views, actually, not at all, and 360 again, not that many either, but at least we have something to check. Yeah, that's I would say a bad way of promoting, let's say, even if you have some tourism in your country, which I believe that at least from what I heard, and I have some people that I know that they spend their vacation in República Dominicana. Clearly the tourism is gonna go to their neighboring country, not to them, and so that just pretty much gonna make it even worse for them in the poverty area. Otherwise, I have to say, yeah, not that many trees here. I can see them, so it could be actually some truth to it, but I think also it's part of the Dominicana. A lot of people, and judging from above, not that much differences between them. Here they have some concrete fences, not that exactly that much land, not exactly a building code, let's face it, but they have those nice islands, which it could be developed much better. My god, I don't think you can call it a road here. That's why probably they have those vehicles, but those ATVs are not cheap, though. These trucks here is not cheap also, so some of them, like I said, doing pretty well. Unfortunately, I'm not sure exactly if you're doing that well with a nice house, even though you have some bars here. Why you don't clean in front of your house? That's a mystery to me. And this guy is doing the same well, even though they don't have a road there. But some of those people, like I said, seems to do pretty well. But even though they're doing pretty well and they have those nicer houses and expensive cars, for some reason they don't want to keep their streets, especially in front of the yards, clean, which again, it's another mystery to me, but I guess it is what it is. Yeah, here from above you're gonna have population spreading around everywhere, not that great looking. Again, it's a very poor country. I mean, you kind of expect those things, but you hope for the best. Let's check this one. Yeah, overall, it's not exactly the paradise, and it is kind of what I expected to see. Again, a lot of garbage here. That's the thing with the garbage. I kind of don't understand it, because you can clean it up. Let's face it. It's not like you need the government to do everything. You're pretty much living in that area. At least you can keep it clean and nice. That you can do very easily. So probably this is after the hurricane. This is how the coconut tree looks. Yeah, a lot of people just probably this is 2015. This is that 10%, 12% that was unemployment rate right here. It looks like that. Not sure exactly what job they're doing here, but besides making 360s, that could be a job. I could be wrong. See, I might actually do that job. A bit on the mountain, this country. Again, those ATVs, and not these Polaris. This is not cheap. Let me tell you, this is 2015, 10 years ago. That was expensive. That house, it is expensive. Some people doing very well here, even though, judging by the yard, it's not even close to doing very well. But house-wise, doing pretty well. Car, pretty well also. This country is pretty much in the hills, I would say. Not exactly mountains, but you have like, here is like 200 meters elevation, and with judging by those palm trees, pretty strong wind. So this is June, around this the same month 10 years ago. Some people living in a tent here, probably tourists, I'm not sure exactly. Yeah, I can see they have a lot of hills here, so you could have actually a very nice urban areas, or very nice building code, but fortunately they didn't go for that. They go for this mess. I'm not sure exactly how they're gonna cope in the future with that. Roads pretty much inexistent in this country. You can see, yeah, it's poverty at the worst. Let's face it. I don't think it's gonna be anything that someone tries to build here and not having some problems in any department. Here the road is pretty good actually, so they have some of them nice. This is 2021, again pretty recently, anything less than 5 years ago is pretty recently in my book. Here, yeah, not exactly a great place, but even those impoverished countries still, like I say, they have some areas that are good. And even the average person, especially here, I'm not sure exactly if you can die from hunger anymore. I think it's becoming more difficult and difficult to die from hunger. Yes, you might not have a house, you might not have very health insurance or at all health insurance, or even a great health, but at least it's not that level. I mean, you can actually die for famine, like this, for example, the potato famine in Ireland, and those times I think are long gone. Not for everyone, obviously, judging by those regions. In Africa, it's gonna be a different story there. But they actually have some pretty big mountains. What is the elevation here? This is 2,000 over 2,000 meters, so they have that too. Pretty good. Here they have even more, about the same. Let's go here, see the beach. Maybe you can see it from above. That would be pretty nice. Yeah, I see, pretty nice. Yeah, I have to say, it's exactly how I expected, especially after making quite a few videos so far. Some garbage here. Some people doing okay, others, most of them not that well. But like I say, overall, I don't think they're dying from hunger. The main problem that I can see now in those countries, not just Haiti, just pretty much a lot of those in the region in South America, it's gonna be the crime rate. Because yeah, you can be impoverished and all that, but if you have like somebody just break into your house and steal even the small things, the little things that you have, and have to start over, at some point you're gonna pretty much give up. So yeah, I think that's a huge problem. Even though, like I say, you have very few things and you're gonna need like 10 years to acquire the minimum of the things that you can actually have a decent life. A lot of people, they will do it, they will then transfer that wealth, let's say, with the next generation, all that. But you have someone that just come and break it and steal it and destroy it. Yeah, I don't think you can build anything on that. So that's a huge problem, I would say. Corruption, crime rate at the top, medical system, education, and from those ones, and then economic, I would say. I am, let's say, willing to live in a poor country when I know that it's no, let's say, zero crime rate, and zero corruption. But usually if you have those zero, almost zero, economic wise, you're gonna do very well immediately. So yeah, that's, I guess, the main issues in those places. But hey, this is only what I can see from all the videos that I make so far, so I'm not exactly an expert. I don't know exactly what's happened here, but it doesn't look that great at all. A lot of people living in those poorly built houses, so probably again, they're gonna get hit by the next hurricane. Things are not gonna look that pretty. They have some trees here. It's not like they chop all the trees. And this is 2021. Yeah, pretty different. Again, we are in Caribbean now, and this is a ex-Spanish colony, French colony, whatever you want to call it. All of them actually. That's pretty nice. They have some nice places here. So they have some sort of a tourist industry, but clearly it's gonna be not even close to what the República Dominicana has. Their neighbor on the same island. We're gonna check that too. And gonna see the differences. Yeah, here they have potential. Every country has potential to do way better. But here, like I said, with the rising in population still growing, corruption still very high, in a place that you're gonna get hit by hurricanes every single year. Infrastructure extremely poorly. Look at this, extremely one. For again, by 2050, I don't think you're gonna see much of the improvement. I have to say, I don't think they're gonna see like a huge, not even a decent amount of improvement. Yeah, they should focus on lowering the population. Clearly, look at those garbages here. It's a problem with population. Lowering the population, lowering the crime rate, lowering the corruption, improving the medical system, improving the educational system, improving the infrastructure, and the economy usually follows. It's I think it's a known fact by now. The hardest that you're gonna do the hardest fight, you're gonna have it in a corruption area and a crime rate. That's gonna be the hardest one, and then medical system and education. I think it's gonna go hand in hand. And like I said, then with low corruption, you're gonna have a, let's say, a decent building code, decent area when you can actually start doing great things. Here again, bars on the windows, not so well. Inside, again, not the greatest one. The views, not exactly so bad, but I don't like this building here, just doesn't look that appealing to me. Not that many, or at least I didn't see it. Maybe let's check on the beach. I don't see that many 360 on the beach, which I think the beach is pretty, I think the main selling point, but for some reason they don't choose to promote that, at least not that much. Clear that, yeah, you can see here they have some sort of resort in that region. Look how close it is from those those rocks here underwater. You could spell a disaster right there very easily. So clearly they have some sort of resorts here, which is pretty nice. A lot of tourists is gonna go here. Probably, or at least it's supposed to be much cheaper than other countries in the region. Is the poorest one probably, so I don't believe for a second it's gonna be that expensive. Otherwise it's not worth it to go there in the first place. So yeah, pretty interesting. Not exactly great here. Again, when you have those resorts, not exactly how I will like to spend my vacation, but yeah, not that many 360 or street on the beach, which I think again it's the main selling point. Here is just pretty much chaos. I mean, look at this. I think that's a market. Oh, I'm not sure exactly. This, it could be garbage. I'm not sure again, or maybe some umbrellas, towels. People stay there. They wash your clothes. Their clothes here. Still, it is very bad. I'm not sure how can say it more nicely. See, no roads whatsoever here. That's a pretty expensive car, especially even for this region. Have a bus. This is wood for, I don't know, probably they use it for cooking, or I'm not sure they need heating here. I don't think they heat their homes here. Look at those buses here. Whoa. Probably with a motorcycle is gonna be much faster and much better here. Rocky Shop. Okay, can go to Rocky Shop. Yeah, even though they fight for independence and take themselves out of the slavery, things on their own don't look that well, I have to say. They didn't do exactly right after it, I will say. Yeah, a lot of people, a lot of chaos. It's just overall, I would say, and a lot of young people. Look at this, you don't find that. What was the average? Very young, I think, 24 years old. Yeah, they're very young here, you can see it. Probably that's why they have so many kids. How many? 2.6, and doesn't even by 2050 they said they didn't go below replacement. So yeah, that's on the individual level. On the government level, there is no way they're gonna do anything. But the individual level, you have to think, if you live in a place like this, it cannot be a great life for the next 25 years of your child. So yeah, I'm not sure exactly how we can do from here. A lot of people choose to live outside the country, to leave the country. Some of them, maybe they go back. Okay, those I see young people here. This one doesn't look so young, but this lady looks very young. Yeah, bars on the windows, and until then, first floor, second floor. Whew. And that female surplus, I kind of see it, I would say. You can see a lot of females here. Even those, okay, this on the scooters. It could be something. At least it's very, let's say, equalized population overall. Not that much differences between them. Not a huge male surplus, not a huge female surplus. It's quite decent. I'm not sure exactly what they're trying to build here, but clearly, look at this. No building code whatsoever. And if you don't have that here in the West, yeah, we can say we have a lot of bureaucracy, which we hate. But at least we have some sort of a building code that makes some sense. Here, not so much. Not sure exactly what are those, but yeah, somebody just washing their cars and bikes in the river. Not exactly a pretty nice things to do, but yeah. Is poverty? Yeah, it is. It's kind of a shame. Probably this place used to look much better 100 years ago, I would say. But now it is. I mean, look at this. It's just no sidewalk, a lot of garbage here, a lot of people. Look at this. Whatever river is supposed to be here, and they have those cranes that I'm not sure exactly what they're trying to build there. It's just, I think it's too much, and a lot of those gonna came from that huge increase in population from 3.5 1955 to 12. That's insane with the corruption, and like I said, the location is not great for them. Okay, so a lot of young females, see, with the location that they're gonna get hit pretty much, like I said, every year by a huge hurricane. It cannot end well, I have to say. Yeah, overall, I would say kind of how expected. I kind of have some hopes, I would say. Don't ask me why, but it feels like they can improve something once the population start, or at least supposed to start going down. Probably by the end of the century, we're gonna see some pretty big changes, I would say, especially in the government department. Probably gonna have some stable government at some point, because the chaos cannot continue to be endless. But yeah, there are some decent areas. Most of the areas looking pretty bad, and I'm not sure exactly, again, if you want to build something here, not a house, just a life, what exactly do you start? It's just, I don't see that starting point here. That's the problem. I don't see, especially if you are born in that poverty, which most likely you are, how you're gonna pull yourself out of that and staying in the country, not going outside the country again. Politics, corruption, not sure. And even with that, you still have a smaller pool to steal from. It doesn't make sense even that. But for them, probably it's pretty decent, yeah. And this garbage has to stop somehow. It's just, no thank you. Look at this. No thank you. That's on the people, not on the government, I have to say at some point. That's on the people. You can't demand the government to do everything. You don't have only rights, you have some obligation too. That's something that any government should advertise, I would say. You want rights, okay, you're gonna get rights, but you have obligation too. So yeah, when I see those garbage just getting thrown every left and right, that's on the people. That's the first one that I blame for. I put the blame. One love or what? Of the horse? Yeah. Well, I think we see enough from Haiti. I don't want to make this video too long. It's kind of how I expected. Nothing much worse, I would say. Nothing that much better also. A lot of construction started and not finished. A lot of people just pretty much everywhere you go here. Even though they're just 12 million, you might say not that many, but they are a lot of them when you see them from above at least. And yeah, I guess I'm not sure exactly how by the half of the century, this century is not gonna do that much different. Probably by the end of the century, we will start to see some improvements here, and hopefully they're gonna put them on the good path, and things are gonna improve. We're gonna see the difference between them and República Dominicana. There we're gonna find exactly what it could be on the same island, pretty much the same people, two different systems. Yeah, so I guess that's the video. Check the other videos, and as always, if you're living in this region, if you visited, just leave a comment, say what was your opinion about them. Maybe I missed something, maybe I misinterpreted something, and just shine more light on how those people actually live and how the life actually is in Haiti. So yeah, see you next time.